Hi, welcome to another video by Kent Altman. It seems I was tagged again by Rochelle77 for another random 5 facts. Even though I had already done one, she seemingly wanted to see another 5 random facts, or hadn't seen the first one. But being that I'm a very random guy, I have more than enough random facts in my life to fill 2 videos. Alright, first random fact. How did I go from having a master's in history to a job in computers? Well, that one really comes down to as I got married right out of high school and got into college, I was originally pre-law because I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Well, I readily recognized that I didn't really feel like I wanted to get in front of people to argue my case. I switched over to history because I had some very good history professors at Dordt College. From there, I thought I had the desire to, one, become a historian and teach at a college level because I knew I didn't want to deal with high schoolers. Well, after I got my master's degree, we had our second child by that time, and I readily saw the lack of jobs in the papers for historians versus during the dot-com boom, the number of jobs in the computer industry. After I completed my master's degree, I said, well, you know, why don't I do this networking thing full-time, and I got a job at a bank. And the rest, as they say, might be history. Running? Why running? How did I pick it up? Well, of course, the first reason I picked up running was because I was in the military and I needed to pass the PT test. Well, that PT test is only a 2-mile run, and almost anybody can run 2 miles with a little bit of training. What really got me into doing longer distances was the Living History Farms race of 2005. The Living History Farms race is a race held at a farm that tries to recreate the history of farming and the settlements of the West in Iowa. But what makes this race unique is that it's a cross-country race, i.e. not on roads, and the last half of the race is having you climb through not 1, not 2, not 3, but at least 7 or 8 water crossings in which you're climbing up a very muddy bank in the November-ish time frame, which, as anyone knows, in Iowa is a very cold and snowy time. So I'll post a couple pictures up on how muddy you get at the end of this race. It's absolutely the best race that you could actually run. Well, the third random fact is what happened with re-enlisting in the military. If you've seen my first video, you've seen that re-enlisting into the military was one of the main motivators for me to lose the weight in the first place. As I saw my buddies get deployed to Kosovo, my former unit go off without me, and knowing that I wasn't there because of the weight. So I dropped the weight, and in 2005 I got myself into a position in which I could pass the weight test as well as pass the PT test. I signed up for a year saying, well, I wanted to understand if this is really the right thing for me. I had been in for 9 years as a military infantry grunt, but this time I wanted to do something a little bit more intelligent, a little less out in the field, a little more back using that brain power that God gave me. And so I picked military intelligence. Unfortunately, there's no really on-the-job training for military intelligence analysts. And for that, I was a 96 Bravo. For those that are curious, they sent me off to training for 6 weeks. 6 weeks away from home in the early January of 2006. It wasn't a very great time, and I missed being at home for quite a while. Well, at that point, my 1 year enlistment, I ended up passing. I was top of the class and graduated with honors. With that, however, my wife started to get the realization, you know what, Kent's serious in this. Maybe I should be thinking about whether or not I want him to re-enlist. As May rolled around and the Iraq war was heating up, she said, Kent, I don't think it's time for you to re-enlist. I think it's time that you stay home with us. I don't think it's right for our family. More power to those that are away and have been deployed, but given the opportunity and the decision, I decided to go along with her decision rather than mine. The fourth random fact is I'm Dutch. I'm third generation Dutch. Both my grandparents on both my side my mom's side and my dad's side both had immigrated over here from the Netherlands, Friesland to be exact. And as I was growing up, I had spent a lot of time with my grandma on my dad's side, and she would routinely speak Dutch around the house. Probably read it at this point, but speaking it is probably pretty difficult. I know a phrase, hoe gaat het met you, which means how goes it with you in Dutch, but that's about it for right now off the top of my head. And the fifth final random fact that you might like to know is how I named my kids, which is a somewhat unusual story. Tasha, my eldest, was named after a Star Trek character. Back in 1993, when Tasha was born, Star Trek The Next Generation was out on TV. Time came to figure out what to name the child, and just so happened that we named her after Tasha Yar, which happened to be one of the characters. Brett, my only boy, was named after my favorite baseball player of all time, George Brett, who played on the Kansas City Royals for many, many years. Well, then came the twins, and that's when my wife finally put her foot down. My second favorite player of all time happens to be Dan Marino. And my intention was, or my suggestion for naming the twins was to name one Danielle and the other one Marina. And well, at that point, Laura put her foot down and said, enough is enough, I'm going to actually name some of the children myself. And she wisely named Brooke semi-after one of our family names, which is Brooke, but Brooke's middle name happens to be Danielle, so I did get my choice in on that. Amanda, well, that just happened to be a name that we both liked. And Grace was named after one of my father-in-law's sisters. So that concludes five more random facts by Ken Altena. Thanks for watching, and if you have any more taggings of videos, please tag me away. Bye.